I mean, I guess in your experience, have you seen, I guess, the topic of document control, document management, two terms, I guess, that are essentially mean very similar things. I guess, how have you seen businesses going through things like ISO? How have you seen that impacted, or how is document management systems supported in that area?
So a document management system in that kind of scenario will provide the security, the stability, and the process that is required to help adhere to those kind of accreditations. We're able to manage those documents in a compliant way. We can evidence any actions that are being taken with that and manage the versions of those documents. But we can then layer that document with process. So we can then start to say, after a period of time or on this date, well, let's follow this process and notify these people of actions to take.
Yeah, something that, having been involved in some of our ISO certifications here at Landell, it's, I guess, that fundamentally it's about how the documents within that system are stored, and how, periodically what the frequency is to reviewing them. And it'd be quite easy, it doesn't matter, I think, unless you put a lot of resource into it, it can be very easy to overlook a document or to miss a step as part of that workflow. And I think that's one of the things that's very much overlooked when it comes to a document management system is its ability to support with that kind of, I mean, even if you're planning to go for an ISO certification, it can be quite daunting at first. Even if you've done it, I mean, those that have done it will definitely appreciate that it's easy for an opportunity to be missed, for a document not to be reviewed. And I guess one of the things that I guess is an unknown, or not necessarily unknown, but perhaps overlooked sometimes for a system like DocuWare is the fact that it could be built to sit at the base of those processes.
Yeah.
As you've just said, to support with this document needs to be reviewed at this period, and then provide an actual paper trail of how that document was reviewed, what was done, and then further support with the next time that document needs to be reviewed.
Yeah, it's automatically taken care of. I've seen companies do similar things where they'll have a massive spreadsheet of file names and versions and dates, and when they need to review them and who needs to review them, and somebody's got to manually check in on that periodically to make sure nothing's being missed, whereas this system can take care of it.
Yeah.
Another area in terms of compliance and those types of things is project management. The documents, if you're a company that's delivering a large-scale project with lots of different versions of drawings and contracts and documentation.
Construction, or it could be manufacturing. Or
We've spoken to customers previously prior to having a document management system in place where people may have been turned away from a site because they had the wrong version of a document.
Yeah, wow.
How
costly that is.
Again, this is it, and it delays, and there's penalties for delays sometimes, often in these kind of projects. So, again, it's just helping deliver the right documentation in the right format at the right time.
Yeah, and I think that's an area that, I mean, before we started using a document management system, we were using SharePoint, and I think it's very easy to think that they are one and the same. And don't get me wrong, SharePoint, and products like that, there are other products out there, is a fantastic product and can be developed to be, quite impressive, but cannot come anywhere near to the feature suite that a lot of document management systems come with, naming DocuWare specifically. So, I think it's, and I've seen a world of difference between us using a system, a standard file storage system, versus using an intelligent document management system designed to support with, making sure that documents are processed and there's a workflow behind it, and, adding some elements of automation and AI, and it's a whole different world compared to what we were using previously.
You're absolutely right. And just to touch on kind of SharePoint, where it can do a lot of things, they can turn into costly, complicated projects, but we work with SharePoint. So, for example, DocuWare projects might be encompassing documentation that needs to be shared via an intranet, and they maybe use SharePoint for the intranet. But before those documents, and there might be policy documents every employee has to have access to. But before that policy document is published, it needs to go through an approval process. It needs to be reviewed and approved by the relevant directors or managers in positions. Yeah. And then we can automate that process. We can automate the whole approval process, even to publishing to SharePoint. And then we can then tag that document in DocuWare to notify the relevant people again after a set period of time that, yep, we need to make sure that this is up to date and still compliant.